Bed in the morning is a lot to deal with all at once.
Good morning, Singapore, and welcome to your therapy session. It's Tuesday. That's why we have our award-winning psychologist from the therapy room, Dr. Geraldine Tan, with us. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning. I didn't realize that it was a therapy section every Tuesday.
It is everyone's therapy session.
Yeah, that's why we call it Therapy Tuesdays.
Yeah.
That's the name.
Have you seen FD recently? He's a wreck.
Yeah.
I mean, he's missing his therapy sessions tremendously.
Yep.
We miss him too. I miss him. He needs to come back.
I don't.
All right, so what do we do? Quit bullying FD, Glenn. You can't bully
That's
someone.
exactly my point. Thank you so much for bringing that up.
You can't bully someone, especially when they're not here.
Yeah, there you go. So today we are talking about bullying.
Dr. Jerry?
We are talking about bullying. And bullying is the repeated use of power, force, or intimidation to harm, control, dominate another person.
When you're powerful, you can bully other people. That's what Donald Trump is doing.
This is true?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
There is usually an imbalance of power between the bully and the victim. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and you were bringing this up because a lot of bullying has been in the news of late, right? Well, not a lot.
Yes,
There was
so
quite a big case.
Yeah, so there was a big case recently, but over the years, over the months, we have seen that, and bullying is quite a significant issue. So, in one of the research, about 18.3% of Singaporean students report having experienced some form of bullying. Yeah, and the average is about 10.9%, with the secondary schools reporting higher occurrences.
The Big Show says no to bullying.
Of course.
We say no.
But you know, Jerry, that recent case, it was so shocking because the kids were how old? 9 years old?
9 years old.
9 years old, and they were making
Threats.
putting out death threats to the victim's
Mother.
I mean, these kids are going to grow up to be psychopaths.
They are still young. We can still help them along.
But that's the point. They're 9 years old. They're supposed to be playing computer games or playing in the playground or
Yeah.
doing sports and not bullying kids of any sort at 9.
How do you rehabilitate a kid like that?
I guess social media really makes it very accessible for all sorts of your reels, your shorts, it doesn't have to be movies anymore, right? So it comes in bite-sized pieces. These children are able to access it, so they are accessing information at a much earlier age. So if we can allow them to gain awareness, so they need to balance that, or we need to balance that with a lot more discernment and awareness at an earlier age also.
But Dr. Jerry, things like Instagram, things like TikTok, there is a minimum age. So for the very fact that 9-year-olds are on, okay, maybe it's not Instagram, maybe it's not TikTok, maybe it's YouTube, maybe it's anywhere online or television or whatever it is, but 9 years old is pretty unforgivable. Does this reflect anything on the parents at all?
We want to say that it does, but also, it depends on the personality of the child. It depends on, is it a group? Is it, do they act singularly? Sometimes it's also, they feel coerced if they do it in a group, right? And all of them have power in numbers. They feel very empowered to come forward to then do an act that maybe another person would enable them and say, yeah, go do it. And they feel very proud that they are able to do it.
So you're talking about things like peer pressure.
Yeah. So there's peer pressure. I'm thinking about what you said about the parents. So whilst there are values that parents can impart, I also want to highlight that it happens in the school environment. And the school also is a learning environment, and the school can play a part in helping to shape their values, which the schools are doing. So it's a very collaborative and collective effort by each and every individual as well as adult. So I would also say what is happening to the bystander, to the peers, where their own values, so one child can cause harm, but how come the other 30 plus of them who are standing around are not stepping in?
The bystanders.
The bystanders, where we are saying that their values, it cannot be all the parents are at fault, right? Or every child has very poor values.
So, what exactly is taught in schools to discourage bullying?
I do know that some of the schools, and I cannot speak for the schools, I only have heard some of the students say that the schools have taught them and created awareness about what bullying is and what to do when they are being bullied. I mean, the major one would be, oh, go tell a teacher. But oftentimes the kids will say, oh, even if I tell the teacher, it's no point. So can we do anything else would be my question.
I read this article recently that in Denmark, all Danish schools dedicate 1 hour each week for empathy lessons for students aged 6 to 16. And apparently, over the years, this has brought bullying down to such a low number that apparently it's the lowest in the world. So it's not so much, I think empathy lessons are a great way to start, instead of like, oh, if you see someone bullying, you have to tell a teacher, you have to tell a parent. It's almost like calling out somebody else and creating an environment of people ratting on each other, which isn't necessarily a good thing.
Which of late seems to be
the way
what
to go,
we're doing.
right? Yeah. But empathy started at a young age is definitely something that I believe like MOE should look into, because it really instills other ways of thinking how situations can be handled and how other people may be feeling.
Absolutely. So if we don't know already, MOE has rolled that out. The schools are teaching social emotional learning, SEL. So these are actually done during the form teacher lesson. So they have a period with the form teacher, and the SEL is being done during that period of time. So they do have a pocket of time that is covered. But yeah, maybe we can sharpen it, maybe we can improve on it, maybe we can relook about what we can cover during those lessons also. But they are doing that. They are putting in efforts.
I think this is quite a joke, actually, because of the fact that this person, who terrorized, a fellow student and a fellow student's parent. Yeah. This terrorist is a 9-year-old.
At the age of 9, that's what I'm saying. 9.
It's ridiculous. If news of this goes international, we will be the laughing stock. Let me just tell you, if a school cannot even handle a 9-year-old,
for bullying to get that far,
exactly, it's a joke. Seriously.
I mean, you hear about kids that young, say, in the UK with stabbing cases and all that. There are some very, very young kids that it happens in the UK and the US and stuff like that. I mean, that's not the route we want to go down, because if 9-year-olds can do it, that means soon enough we'll be hearing of even younger children starting to bully.
And this 9-year-old will be part of the gang. Recently we read about this
11
gang in Toa Payoh there was that was a bullying
Over the
thing as
weekend.
well, wasn't it?
In some form, yeah.
Yeah, so many of them kind of like stabbed two guys or something like that.
I didn't read all the details.
Yeah. So this kid is going to grow up to be like one of those.
Maybe we can talk about that, Dr. Jerry, whether children at that age or any age will grow up to become adults of the same kind.
Yeah, so the age we are talking about is a very young age that we don't expect to see them, be so mean and so so severe. Like the bullying appears to be so severe, but bullying can occur at any age because they do not know. Some of them have no understanding, no awareness of some of the behaviors and how to deal with their environment. So their belief is that I need to behave in a certain way to deal with my environment. Of course, the younger they are, the more ability we have to intervene when they showcase this sort of behavior. So we want to be able to deal with them as young as possible. So I don't think that it is only peculiar to a 9-year-old, but this case got flagged up. So bullying can occur even younger. So we see, kindergarten little kids pushing one another, and they continue to do that. So what is bullying is the repeated use of power or force. So another little kid, another 3-year-old can be pushing a friend in the playground, and somebody steps in. So it can occur at any age.
But Dr. Jerry, I mean, bullying in the playground, pushing a kid over, or whatever might be, happens and has happened since we were kids as well.
Yes.
But to threaten death to a parent, that is a whole other level. And this kid being 9 years, okay, I'm not pinpointing this child because, clearly this child has already had enough attention on him, her, or the group of them. But to do something like that, clearly they've been bullying for a while. I feel, it's probably been going on for a few years. But what brings a child to want to bully someone of authority like that?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is, has this child been stopped? Has it been caught? How have the adults managed the situation? I cannot expect the peers, at this level to then try and stop that behavior. They're probably, so the people or the peers around this kid is probably intimidated also. But what is interesting is that this child, a 9-year-old child, has threatened death, but I don't know whether this child would actually carry out the behavior.
Yeah, but you can't take the risk, right?
Absolutely, we cannot take the risk.
Yeah.
But how come the adult is feeling so intimidated by a 9-year-old? Because that feels very enabling for the child also. That, if I say that, you can feel intimidated, I'm going to say it more. Different types of bullying, right? There are different types of bullying. There is emotional bullying, where I cause you to feel a lot of emotions, feel very put down. There's verbal, where I call you names, I label you, I would say all sorts of things, I'll gaslight you. There's physical bullying, which we know, the pushing, the shoving, the kicking, the tripping. There's social bullying, which is isolating someone and getting people around me, rallying people around me to then isolate that one person, that's social bullying. And then there is cyberbullying, which we know using the keyboard and then, putting up photos of the other person. So there are different types of bullying. Now, if this is the death threats is just verbal bullying or emotional bullying, and not physical bullying, can then the other person manage it differently? Yeah.
We have quite a number of, I'm assuming, parents that have messaged us on Facebook and YouTube. Krishna Raj says parents have the biggest part to play in a child's childhood by talking to them every day, understanding their emotions. You'd be amazed how far small talks go with them to get to know them better and to help them. These days, parents are chasing for grades and money, and they spend way too little time with their kids. Kimberly says someone in the school management level must have been one of the instigators, because how in the world did the child get the number of the parent? Rachel says, indeed, if the school cannot handle cases well, then we really need to look deep within the system. Jason has come on to say, what do we do if it is a teacher who is bullying the child? And Kimberly again came on to say, strangely, the school cited privacy for not organizing the meetup, but the victim's mom received calls right after she reported the matter to the school. So where and how was her privacy protected?
Okay, so I want to move away from this case because it is a case that we all have read on the internet, in the newspaper. We do not have enough details. So we cannot just analyze a case without knowing the details.
Wait,
so what we want...
Jerry,
Yeah.
but would it be fair to say, because look, the school took action, did this, did that, and all that. But to me, if I was in charge, I would go I would like to find out a little bit more about this boy. Why is this boy behaving like this? Is he being abused at home?
Yeah.
Where
is it coming
is he
from?
a spoiled child?
Yeah.
Maybe his parents spoil him. Is this child abusing the house help, perhaps? Because he seems so comfortable threatening an adult.
Yeah.
Maybe he's one of those, right? Parents spoil him. He's at home. He
Entitled.
thinks he's the king of the house. He abuses the maid, hits the maid. I've seen kids do that.
Yep.
To their maids before. And the parents do nothing.
Yep.
So things like that. Maybe the school could go okay, let's engage a psychologist or something like that. And over a period of time, let's just dig a little bit deeper, because this is a serious case. A 9-year-old kid, putting out death threats to another parent. We need to get down to the root of the problem.
Do they do that with the bullies in schools?
Okay, so this is something we always encourage. So I like what Glenn mentioned about, could it be a personality issue? Could it be a clinical issue? And that has to be escalated to a professional, because you're absolutely right. So someone with oppositional defiant disorder, somebody who has more severe ADHD, or undiagnosed sensory issues may present some of these more aggressive or more callous sort of behaviors that needs to be dealt with by and managed by a professional. And we will work with the school. Definitely we will work with the school how to integrate and how to manage behavior in a school environment. So clinical disorders are one area that maybe we need to look into. But there are others that don't fall into this category, So others would be, they may have been bullied themselves. So in order for them not to be bullied, they become the bully. So they learn how to survive by bullying other people. So others would be, I feel empowered, and then I bully. So I've got a whole group behind me. I feel very good about myself. And in order to stay on top, I bully. So we would need, the school or the school counselor to come in. And it may not be very visible to the parents, because with the parents, they may only be 1 or 2 children at home. But in the school environment, there are more children that they can rally around. So the parents actually do not see that. So we cannot only solely blame the parents because they don't see this group dynamics happening in the school environment. The other one is the child the child with very low self-esteem, or they are very, very scared. So instead of being scared, they become a character that is larger than life, or they hide behind a team bullier, the lead bully. So they also bully, and they learn how to bully, and they are part of that whole group that bully because they're scared that they cannot belong. They don't have attention. So then they become the bully.
Mean Girls.
So we have
The movie Mean Girls.
It's crazy what's happening out there, yeah? Kimberly says one of our playgroup's children was also bullied in primary 3. Her assessment book had pages torn up, books thrown into bins, detergent inside her drinking bottle. When her mom reported to the school refused to recall CCTV footage. Avoidance of school principal and head's action was very slow, and she says she felt that the school protects the bullies more than protecting the children bullied. I suggested to her to change to another class, which she didn't want in the beginning because she didn't want her girl to feel that every time she met a challenge, she had to run away from it, until she gave up on the school's investigation and moved her to another class.
Sounds ridiculous. Sounds so ridiculous. Why are
It
the
sounds so
schools?
scary.
Why are the schools not taking action?
So, okay, we have Terming that has come on. I mean, if the schools are not going to take action, Terming is asking, how should we prepare our children to face potential bullies in school?
Yeah, I mean, come on, this is Singapore, man.
Yeah, it
It's
shouldn't
like,
be happening.
You know, if a bully is reported, that bully, action should be taken against that bully straight away.
Is it a problem, Dr. Jerry, of the ratio teacher to students in Singapore? Because, I mean, our classes are huge. Our classes are like 40 kids or something like that. I mean, how can one person handle
Yeah.
40 children?
What's going on? Can all the teachers give us a call or something like that?
Yeah.
Explain the situation.
Text-
Why are y'all so useless?
Okay, I'm trying to stand on the side of the school, but we really need the school the teachers to call in. I'm going to get calls from my friends now.
That's
Yeah, I
all
mean,
right.
what is the
yeah.
problem? Tell us, what's the problem?
How do we solve it?
Is
Yeah.
someone
Yes.
kind of like
Yeah.
controlling the situation, making it hard for the teachers or whatever? Come on.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, from our vantage, it looks awful.
okay.
I'm gonna be a voice for two sets of parents today, and I'm sure more parents because we are on this topic of bullying. And I started the morning a bit heavy because these are two sets of parents whose children have passed directly after the child was bullied.
Oh, no.
And I like how, so no names, I promise the parents, no names will be mentioned. And one of the parents permitted me to read a blog that she's written. And she says, we hope his story inspires quality emotional care for children across all schools. So it's an appeal, okay, for many years to come. We pray for a better world, a kinder future, one that listens to and accepts sensitive souls with warm love and tender care. And I think what she says is very, very true. You know, if all of us, you know, can put away all the grades, like one of, the listeners was talking about, put away the grades, put away the materials, and just be a bit more compassionate. So do we need to teach empathy, or can we remind each other to be a little kinder?
Yeah.
So here's okay. So for this young boy, his death was concluded by the coroner as a voluntary act, and they acknowledge his state of emotional distress. Okay, so I was thinking whether I would read out what transpired, but I think I would not want to read out what transpired. It is in her blog, but I promise I would not share the blog on air.
Of course, yeah.
So this person was bullied over time.
So over the course of that one day, there were several things that was he was made to do. He
Oh,
was
no.
not supported by any parent or counselor, and for these two cases, they were told that they were wrong. So the teachers as well as the peers seem to be against these two children. Now,
Oh my goodness.
that's only one side of the story.
But Dr. Jerry, if I could just interrupt you at this point. I mean, I don't know if you're talking about one boy or two boys that have lost their lives, but they sound like, sorry, two.
Both boys lost their lives.
They sound like very sensitive individuals, right?
They
And
are.
I think besides teaching compassion and empathy, the narrative of boys being more sensitive and quieter and a little bit more delicate should be changed, because a lot of other boys are brought up to be like, oh, you have to be rough and tough, and if you're soft, then you're a sissy, then you're this and that. But that's not true at all.
I was brought up like that.
Yeah, right. A lot of boys were brought up. My brother was brought up like that.
But look at us now. We're the best. So strong.
The concept of strength needs to change.
Change.
It is not just physical strength.
Yeah.
It is also, emotional sensitivity, and they cannot be faulted for it. So this boy is a very sensitive. So the one that I read out is a very sensitive soul. Now the other boy is also a very sensitive soul, but I was also very appalled because he had written a letter. These two are primary school kids, yeah. He had written a letter, and he had gone to his friends to describe how he was going to die.
Oh no.
What?
But no
Oh, my
action
goodness.
was taken.
Oh. Who saw this
And-
letter though?
The
The
school?
friends.
The friends saw
Did the school
letter.
see the letter?
The friends. So it was only after that. And for this young one, this other young one, he described how he was going to die. He showed the letter to the classmates, and then he gave the letter to another friend to give to someone, or to hand it on Monday or something like that, over a weekend.
Yeah.
And that very weekend, he ended his
Oh
life
my
from
God.
the home. Yeah, and it is very, very painful. I mean, there is no way, and I cannot take away the pain. I've been seeing the parents, but I cannot take away a pain. How do you take away a pain when you see your child on the ground?
Oh God.
There's no way.
But
There's
it's
no
also
way.
not normal behavior, right, Jerry? For a child to take his own life.
No, it
There-
stems from something.
No,
like
it stems from something, but it's not. I mean, look, we've all been that age before, and the ultimate fear is death. You know what I mean? It's like it that's like another level.
No, it is. Yeah. Suicide is not.
So could it be that perhaps maybe he was troubled in a different way? Perhaps maybe he needed help from a professional.
So why do we focus so much on bullying? Because when you bully another person, or when we are bullied, you feel pushed to a corner. And we know how when we are in a corner, there is no way out. And we have seen, if we have the visual of the 9/11 Twin Towers incident, you see people jumping out of the window. Why? When you're pushed to a corner and you're so desperate, the
No
only
choice.
way is down. Yeah. The only way to just end that pain is out. That means out of this world. And that can you imagine the pain that they feel? So the bullied feel that they are so helpless so powerless, so cornered that they feel they need to end it all. So it's a pain that we cannot understand. It's very, very excruciating that even they may not be able to articulate, especially children in primary school, right? So the one inflicting the pain don't know how severe it is. The one receiving the bully don't know how to articulate how painful it is. And sometimes as the adults, we lose that because we don't see how painful it is. So if you say we all have a part to play in creating a more kinder, compassionate, gentler society.
Yeah, we have so many people that are messaging in, but I won't read them all. I guess the one comment that did stand out was, are there any telltale signs? This one's from Eddie. Are there any telltale signs, like facial expressions or whatever it may be, that your child may be subject to being bullied, even if your child is not willing to share? Because these two sets of parents that you're talking about that lost their sons, I'm sure they were very loving parents, and I'm sure they blame themselves every day for not spotting the signs prior to. So how do busy parents try to do their best to see if the same is happening to their children in schools?
So for if we can catch it, usually it would be mood changes. Your child is quieter, or your child is more irritable, more angry. So there's a change in that attitude. The avoidance of school. Sometimes they don't want to go to school. Please find out what is happening in school. Don't just assume that they are lazy. Don't just assume that there is an exam on a certain day. Please find out what is happening in school. Sometimes you have damaged school belongings. Your bag is constantly damaged. Your bottle is constantly damaged. Find out what is happening. Don't just blame the child and say that the child is clumsy or lazy or didn't put in effort. The drop in grades. So this is sometimes a very, very big telltale sign where they cannot focus, they cannot perform. But tendency for parents or teachers to say is what? Buck up, do better. Put in more effort. Stop being lazy. You can do better.
Okay.
Maybe there is a story behind the drop in grades.
I haven't had much of a say, but I've just been waiting for this time because I really, really believe in this 100%. All right, I feel that all kids, right, with the help of their parents, of course, parents should enroll their kids for martial arts because it builds self-confidence. It creates a healthy mindset. And there's absolutely nothing like it.
And it teaches sportsmanship as well, doesn't it?
Of course.
I mean, that's really good.
The person who takes up martial arts is not someone who will go out there and pick
bully.
a fight.
Yeah.
But just that confidence that you can take care of yourself. And really, it builds a very healthy mindset. I mean, I'm so thankful to my late dad for enrolling me. We were doing martial arts together from primary 1. From primary 1, and I remember some people trying to bully me in school and all that, but no. I got punched a few times as well, but did I punch back? No, I didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you didn't run away either.
I didn't run away. Yeah. It didn't bother me. I just thought to myself, okay, if this carries on, then one day I'll punch lah. I'll defend myself.
Yeah.
But and it was just me, a primary 2 kid, primary 3 kid, up against a primary 6 kid. That kind of thing. I mean, I was able to go okay, yeah, sure, he's gonna beat me up. He's so much bigger, than me. But he can only beat me up to a certain point before I defend myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So So I really, really think that parents have this very, wrong mindset about,
Martial arts.
if I get my kids to take up martial arts, then I'm condoning violence.
No, it's not true.
It is not true at all.
Yeah.
Really. It's not true. And I can see the difference between mindsets of kids who take up martial arts and the mindsets of kids who don't.
Yeah.
It's clear as day. Trust me. This is something I believe 100% in.
Yeah, martial arts is not about violence at
It's
all.
not. It's not. It's building confidence. And it's all about confidence, even in life. Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
everyone. It's time to
No
go. You
worries.
don't have time already. Bye-bye. Kidding.
Yeah, but yes, sports martial arts is definitely something that we can consider. The other one is also sports. I think sports also introduces similar sort of mindset, discipline, confidence, community, so that any sort of sport also is quite helpful. Yeah, so that's good. I actually got a little fun one because it was so heavy the whole morning. I just wanted to end with something, tips that are a little bit more fun. So I always like to use my hand, right? So we have our 5 fingers. Okay, so so when somebody tries to thumb you down, you change the emotion and tell the person, good for you. You change that emotion immediately. So I just want to use this so it's easier for us to remember. If you feel thumb down, change the emotion. Now, somebody scolds you and berates you is the pointer finger. What can we do? We use it to think. We pause and we think. And we only speak if we need to. So we think. So then it comes to the middle finger. I'm not going to show it on
What about the middle finger? Huh?
Okay.
So somebody tries to show you the middle finger. Reach out for resources. So when you reach out for resources, there's a peace sign and there's Scout's honor. So, you resource yourself. Why you laugh? Oh my God.
Glenn's like, she's
Such a
so
girly
cute.
thing.
Why not? I mean, if it helps anyone to remember what to do, I'm going to use it. So the 4th finger or the ring finger is considered, a bit weak, right? But what do
To hell with that ring finger.
we talk about harmony.
Glenn doesn't like the ring finger.
Okay? You can put a ring without,
Don't put a ring on it.
Don't do it.
Harmony.
Okay.
No, the pinky is unassuming. So if somebody treats you like you're invisible, remember that this little ring finger is a very powerful promise. And this very powerful promise is the promise to believe in yourself and all your abilities that you have. So this is the 5 fingers that we can use to help ourselves.
Okay, I know we have very little time left, but Derming is just asking if there's an organization like the SOS or Good Samaritans that can help victims or victims can turn to. Just to close it
Go
off.
to any of the psychologists, counselors, we will be able to support.
Okay.
So many of the centers there, all of us are equipped to manage it. Most of us, not all, most of us are.
Okay.
I know we have to go, so I'm going to quote Mother Teresa, and she says, "Kind words are short and easy to speak, but the echoes are truly endless."
It's
Very
her birthday today, by the way.
Ah.
Oh my gosh, talk
Perfect
about
timing.
coincidence.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jerry, for joining us as always.
Thank you for taking us through and giving us this space for this very difficult topic.
Yeah, not really difficult, actually. So easy.
Maybe for you, not
Okay.
for others.
Anyway, thank you, Jerry. Have a nice day.
Thank you. See you next week.